Hey guys, this is episode 15. Welcome to Let's Discuss The Walking Dead. This is for season 4, episode 7. Um, I do gotta say that sorry for the later post today because last night I kinda overslept, so okay, so I guess technically it'd be this morning, so I don't really get what was up with the corpses that were chained to the tree and to the lazy boy out in front of that guy's house. Um, I think what I kind of alluded to on the Talking Dead was that maybe it was a warning to other people to couldn't stay away from the house, but I think that it was done a little too elaborately to just be done as a warning. I think it was more done out of spite for those particular people. So uh, this is the best explanation that I can kind of think of for what happened in that house. Two guys invaded the house. One of them that was considered the liar was the one that was trying to distract the husband, who actually had who had a gun like the shotgun. Um, while the other guy went in and raped his wife, which was the rapist. And once the husband figured that stuff out, he just went in and basically killed the guys, and before they turned into walkers, he sliced off their heads, and they spent the time to put the actual corpses like out on the tree and out on the lazy boy. They waited long enough for their bodies to actually get to the point where walking by walkers just went to take a bite out of them. So they would actually stay. So kind of like in a way, kind of like a living scarecrow, I guess. Um, what they decided to do was to actually keep the heads in the closet, kind of like saying to the governor, this is almost like what he was doing with the fish, the heads of the aquarium, and also at the same time doing the same thing with him keeping the corpse of his daughter Penny in the closet. So then what probably happened is one of the heads I don't know rolled out or whatever and took a little bite out of the son. Um, then when the son turned into the walker, of course he was kept in the closet along with the heads. Um, then what probably happened is for some reason the son probably got out of the closet and bit the mother. So um, and then the dad probably figured out to himself that hey, maybe he shouldn't have done this. He is the one that was totally responsible for both the dying and stuff. So that's why he went out onto the porch and shot himself in the head with a shotgun. So um, and yeah, uh, the corpse of the son was a little bit older than the son in the picture, but then you got to also think, how old is that picture? So I don't think that Sanchez's real problem, the reason that he did die was because he decided to share power. I think it was more that he kind of hesitated a little bit in saying that he would do whatever it would take to actually protect the group. And I think the old governor kind of reared his head. You could almost see it in David Morrissey's eyes or eye when he basically started to change. So I think he was kind of the Brian Harriet governor up till that point. Then basically everything changed because he kind of got into his mind that okay, I am the only one that can protect my new family now. So, and if you did notice, when he was talking to them, when they were going to try to leave, about midway through the episode, in that car, he said to Lily, hey, I can't risk losing you guys again. Um, yeah, his basically new family and his old family were kind of put together, at least in his mind. So, and I mean, just look at how actually ticked off the governor was at Sanchez for what he said. Before he threw him into the Walker pit, he could have always taken like a knife or whatever and stabbed him, kind of like Carol did, like up through the brainstem, up into his actual brain, and turned the knife to make sure that he was actually dead. But no, he decided to actually throw them in when he was alive. So um, I don't know. Maybe he's just a sadist or a masochist or whatever. So um, he seems to take entirely too much enjoyment over watching people die. And yeah, after he did kill Sanchez, he did go and get credit about it. So I don't think that he was totally turned into the government mode just yet. Um, Almost there, but not totally. Then the next day, when people kind of found out that Sanchez had been killed and eaten alive and stuff down in one of the pits, um, then I think he was a little more willing to see where it was actually going to go with the government type. When Pete stepped up and decided that he was going to be the interim leader, I kind of thought that maybe he said to himself, like, okay, well, that kind of takes a little weight off my shoulders. I might not actually have to do it. And of course, when the people there start to complain about how this should be a democracy and we should get equal say and stuff, and I kind of thought to myself, well, that is really not what we need. We need a strong leader. Um, so I kind of thought that when Pete said that they'd be holding like elections or whatever in a couple of days, then I think it started to turn into his mind a little more that he would kind of have to actually take over the entire group again. And I think that the thing that kind of turned around for the governor was Pete's lack of decision making to raid that other survivor group, um, and really, I still don't know exactly what it was that took out the other group. So, because the people they kind of died like almost too suddenly to actually have just been raided by an outside group. I mean, you would think that they would hear like a lot of screaming or gunshots or whatever, and would decide to stay away from there. But um, what I'm kind of wondering is that maybe there is a small group going around that actually what they do is they decide not to take on the people that they're raiding head on. Um, what they do is they kind of do like they do with Bob, where um I'm kind of thinking that it's Bob, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe they put a plant into that group, and then they'll do something like get them to drink cyanide or something like that, or do something where basically everybody will drop dead like in just a couple of minutes or whatever. So then what they can do is they can just come up and like stab them in the head and say bullets, and Then, of course, if they're in a troubled spot where they have to use their guns, then they can. Then they'll have the ammunition for it. What they can do this way is they can raid already dead groups for things like food and ammunition and stuff like that. So, um, what these guys probably did was they just stood somewhere out in the trees or whatever, or maybe like up in the trees or whatever, and just waited for all of it to drop dead except for the one person who was the actual plant. Um, then they would come down and they would stab at least most of them in the head. So um, I kind of think like what they did with that one guy is they would probably keep one of the guys alive. Um, then that guy would turn into Walker and he would go around and he would kind of start eating the other corpses that were there, so that if anybody else came by, that's what they would think would have happened is that there'd been like a herd or whatever that had blown through and just taken all these guys out. So um, it would give the one group that would have been given the plants a little bit of an edge and surprise, in that nobody would be thinking about somebody doing it that way. So at least that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm kind of wondering if those are also the same people that set up that yes, you could say that Walker quicksand trap that the governor and Lily and Tara and Megan and stuff when they were in the car, they were trying to leave. They ran into basically a whole bunch of walkers that were stuck waist deep in the mud or whatever. So um, I'm kind of wondering if somebody actually decided to do it that way to try and keep walkers away instead of like digging a whole bunch of pits. If basically they set up like quicksand traps or whatever around them, and then if anything walked in there, of course they wouldn't be able to get out, and um, if anybody was alive that walked in there, they'd slowly starve to death, or maybe get bitten by one of the other walkers in there. So, um, yeah, just my theory on that. So, one of the things I really don't get with Pete Walker, well, when he eventually turned into Walker, is how they're getting him to basically stay in the same place underwater. Um, I could kind of understand it a little bit if maybe he'd like to put a chain around his waist and put like a concrete block to kind of anchor him or whatever. But you would think that if they didn't do it that way, either Pete would just float up to the surface, or you know he would sink enough to actually just walk out of there. But um, yeah, being stuck floating halfway, hmm, I don't know about that. Who knows? Maybe before he decided to kick his corpse into that little pond or big pond or whatever, maybe he decided to put like some lead weights or whatever in his pockets. But uh, who knows? And you would kind of think that somebody else that would kind of be walking there, like from the same group, would eventually go out onto the dock and either take a look out into the pond, or who knows, maybe they'd actually be stupid enough to actually decide to cannonball in there. But um, either way, they would kind of see that Pete was down there and that he had just died, like out on a mission or whatever. That he'd actually been killed in another way. So And yeah, I'm kind of surprised that nobody has really questioned the fact that all these leaders seem to be dying as soon as the governor came into the group. Um, Granted, it wouldn't really be smart to accuse him of that if you really thought that he was the one responsible for it, but you might want to consider actually leaving. But um, yeah, so far nobody has really had the cojones to actually do that. So the last thing that I want to talk about tonight is about Bob. Well, I don't know particularly if it is Bob or whoever it is that's on the inside of the prison that's feeding the rats to the walkers outside. But I'm just gonna assume that it's Bob, because basically that's what a lot of people think it's gonna be anyway. So um, if he is not a plant, I think what it could be is that he's going through, I guess you could say, almost a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, um, where he's kind of gotten into his mind where, you know, he has to be the last one in the group left alive. Um, Not, that he wants to wipe everybody out, but that it's kind of his purpose in life is to actually go from group to group and make sure that he is the last one surviving. So, um, yeah, that's the reason that I think that he's probably trying to get the walkers to come over to one side of the fence, which kind of worked a little bit before, but um, of course he's been doing that in a couple of places. So, yeah, I'm kind of wondering if maybe that's the reason he's a little screwed up in the head. So, well, that's about it for now. So we can sign off for now. This is video 15. You've been watching Let's Discuss The Walking Dead. This has been for season 4, episode 7. So, I will see you next week for episode 8, which is the mid-season finale. Um, I'm kind of calling that one the Red Wedding, kind of like a Game of Thrones thing, because apparently there's going to be so many people, like from the actual cast, that die in that one. So, um, not exactly sure how many, but I know it's at least going to be more than one. So, um, I'm thinking offhand it might be like a one to 5. So